What's going on, guys? My name is Hyrius and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with some more MLB The Show 20, but we're doing things a little bit different today. Instead of doing our normal franchise or Diamond Dynasty, today we are going to see, since the Major League Baseball season hasn't officially been canceled, but it isn't starting anytime soon, we're going to check to see who MLB The Show 20 thinks will win the World Series this year. So I am the Red Sox, but I have everything set to auto-manage. So I'm not going to be doing anything. We're going to be completely simming the whole season. We're going to do that 3 times. Realistically, just want to see who MLB The Show thinks will win the seasons this year. So we're going to stop at 2 points. We're going to stop at the All-Star break and then the start of the playoffs, and then we'll check the standings, all the awards, who made the All-Star team, stuff like that. And then we will see who actually ended up winning the World Series at the end of it. And like I said, we're going to do that 3 times. So let's get right into the first one. I will see you guys at the All-Star. Okay, so we are at the halfway point. Let's go check out the standings. So far, the Red Sox honestly aren't having an awful year. They're 1.5 games back. The Blue Jays, who are winning the division. That's a little surprising. I was expecting it to be the Yankees. The Red Sox started off awful. They were like 25-25 early on in the season. And then the White Sox are winning their division at 63-33, followed by the Twins at 63-35, and the Indians at 62-35. That's going to be a tough division to come out of. That's a little surprising. That's not normally a strong division. And then the Astros obviously winning their division by 3.5 games over the Angels. I was kind of expecting that to be at the Athletics, but apparently Mike Trout must be going off if the Angels are up there in second. Then the Twins and Indians obviously leading the wild card by 7.5 games over the Angels. And then the Red Sox back 10.5. So if the Red Sox want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to beat out the Blue Jays because nobody's catching the Twins and Indians. 7.5 games ahead at the All-Star break. That's crazy. Then in the National League, the Phillies are beating the Marlins. The Marlins at 53-43. Okay, that's a surprise pick. Marlins 1 back of the Phillies, and then the Braves 3.5 back. Then the Cubs beating the Reds by 4 games, and then the Brewers 11.5 back. I wonder what happened there. I wonder if there's an injury to Christian Yelich or something like that. It's surprising to see them 11.5 back. Then the Dodgers obviously over the Diamondbacks by about 2 games. That's about what we expected probably. And then the Diamondbacks and the Rockies leading the wild card with the Marlins a game back and the Reds a game back. That's going to be a wild finish to the end. Be cool to see the Marlins make the playoffs for the first time in, 11 years, 12 years, probably even longer than that. And at the halfway mark, JD Martinez is leading the league or at least in the American League. JD Martinez looks like the favorite to become the MVP. He's hit 30 home runs already at the All-Star break. And then you got Acuna in the National League, and you do have Yelich as the runner-up right now. So Yelich has been doing his thing. The Brewers just aren't winning. And then the Cy Young, you have Aaron Nola of the Phillies in the National League, and you have Justin Verlander going for his 4th Cy Young in the American League, and then Shane Bieber. Don't know who he is, really. And then the batting title, you have David Peralta, which is a little surprising, in the National League. And then you have Jose Abreu in the American League. Then you have Brad Hand for Reliever of the Year, and this stuff really doesn't matter anymore. We'll look at that stuff at the end. The MVP is really what we were looking at there. Let's actually look at the All-Stars. Who are going to be the All-Stars? So, Justin Verlander, Shane Bieber, Austin Pruitt, Chris Sale, way down there, 7-4 with a 3.02 ERA, not having a good year. Garrett Cole, Carlos Rondon, okay. Got Mitch Garver leading the catchers with Yasmani Grandal and then Christian Vasquez. Got Jose Abreu and Carlos Santana as first baseman with Yuli Gurriel. Wow, Jose Abreu with 757,000 votes. He does already have 70 RBIs, so. Cesar Hernandez leading second baseman, followed by Jose Altuve and then Gleyber Torres. Anthony Rendon and Yoan Moncada as the third baseman, followed by Alex Bregman. Xander Bogaerts and Marcus Semien as the shortstops, followed by Tim Anderson, JD Martinez and Eloy Jimenez, followed by Justin Upton as the left fielders. Upton is so old. How old is Upton? 32. I thought he was older than that. Never mind. I guess he's not that old. Then you got Mike Trout, followed by Malik Smith, the center fielder for the Mariners. Okay. And then you have Oscar Mercado, the center fielder for the Indians, as the third. Then you have Franmil Reyes as the right fielder from the Indians, Jorge Soler from the Royals, and Austin Meadows from the Tampa Bay Rays. Not a bad team. And then if you go to the National League, Madison Bumgarner, 2.03 ERA and a 10-3 win and loss record. And he wasn't even on the Cy Young records, I don't think. And Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Bauer, Johnny Cueto. Cueto's kind of turning his career around, apparently. Relief pitchers don't matter. Then you got JT Realmuto as the catcher, Jorge Alfaro and Kurt Suzuki. Then you got Josh Bell, Freddie Freeman, and Pete Alonso, Mike Moustakas, Jonathan, and then Ozzie Albies. You got Chris Bryant, Nolan Arenado, and Eugenio Suarez, Trevor Story, Nick Ahmed, and Javier Baez, David Peralta, Andrew McCutchen. Okay, he's having a good year. And Corey Dickerson. And then Ronald Acuna, Ketel Marte, and Lorenzo Cain. That Diamondbacks outfield, they're playing well. And you got Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, and Mookie Betts. Not having a great year in his first year with the Dodgers. But he's still third in All-Star voting, so I guess not awful year. National League was a little more normal. No surprise people there, really. So let's advance to the playoffs. Okay, we are at the postseason. The Red Sox surprisingly made the playoffs at 90-72. They had a huge second half, 5 games ahead of the Blue Jays, and then the Yankees finished 82-80. What happened there? Then the Indians beat out the Twins and the White Sox at 162, and then 98-64, 95-67. That division was tough. When you're 95-67 and you don't win your division, you're a second wild card. Whew. It's going to be rough for the White Sox, but it's nice to see them back in the playoffs. Then the Astros win their division by 1 game over the Angels. Twins and White Sox beat out the Angels for the wild card. The Blue Jays end up being 10 games back. The Phillies beat out the Marlins in the National League East by 1 game. Oh, that sucks if you're the Marlins. Then the Cubs beat out the Reds by 6 games. The Dodgers beat out the Rockies by 3. And then the Rockies and Reds win the wild card, beating out the Diamondbacks and Marlins by 2 games and 5.5. Not a bad, no real surprise teams there. The Marlins, of course, finishing 1 game back. That's a little surprising, but they didn't make the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. If you look at the awards, the American League MVP was JD Martinez, followed by Xander Bogaerts, so he had a good second half of the season. The Cy Young was Justin Verlander, finishing 21-6. And then this stuff really doesn't matter. Got some Gold Glovers for the Red Sox, but nothing huge. Then in the National League, you have Ronald Acuna winning the MVP, followed by Chris Bryant and then Yelich. Then you have Walker Buehler winning the Cy Young at only 14-5. But then you look at the other two. Luis Castillo was only 14-7, and then Clayton Kershaw was only 15-7. So not a good year win-wise for the National League. Then you got some Josh Roeder of the Marlins winning Rookie of the Year, simmed off season. And the Dodgers defeat the Indians in the 2020 World Series. Okay. No. Okay. So the Red Sox got swept by the Astros. who then got the Astros. Who then lost in Game 6 to the Indians. Who then lost to the Dodgers in 6 games as well. And the Dodgers win their first World Series in a long time. And awards for the playoffs. World Series MVP was Gavin Lux, whoever the heck that is, their second baseman. Postseason MVP was Domingo Santana for the American League. And for the National League, it was Jock Peterson. And congratulations to the Dodgers. So if you look at this series alone, it looks like MLB The Show thinks that the Dodgers will win the World Series. So we're going to run this one more time, not 2 more times, because that time took a little longer than I thought, and then we will see if it's the Dodgers again. I will be back in a second, guys. And we are back. We're about to run the same simulation again and see if the Dodgers come back out on top. So I will see you guys at the All-Star break. So after the All-Star break, the standings look like, hold on, where are they? So the Yankees are back where they belong at 2.5 games up on the Red Sox. I guess not really where they belong, but they're playing better than they were in the last simulation, which is about what I expected. And the Blue Jays are 12 games back. So it seems like that was just some luck for the Blue Jays and some probably injury prone from the Yankees. The Twins are 7.5 up on the Indians, despite the fact that the Indians have won 61 games, which is crazy. The Astros are up on the Angels again, so it looks like the Angels are going to be there again at the end. And then the Indians and Angels are up on the Red Sox by 2 games. The Phillies are up on the Nationals this time, which is better, but the Marlins still only 5 games back and still above 500, which is really surprising. And then the Reds up on the Cubs, and the Brewers are back again. So apparently MLB The Show thinks that the Brewers are in for a really bad season this year. Then you got the Dodgers up on the Diamondbacks by 7 games, and the Padres by 16.5. Bad year for the Padres, which isn't surprising. And then the Diamondbacks and Cubs leading the National League wild card, 1.5 ahead of the Nationals and 4 games up on the Marlins. So the Marlins are going to have a really good second half to make the playoffs. If you go to the awards, Jorge Soler leading the league in MVP voting, followed by JD Martinez. Then you got Garrett Cole winning the Cy Young at this point, followed by Justin Verlander. And then Rookie of the Year, Dom T. Williams of the Mariners, followed by Ramon Urias of the Orioles. And then the National League, you have Jazz Chisholm leading the Rookie of the Year voting for the Marlins. And Cy Young going to Walker Buehler potentially again. He's having a good year. 1.74 ERA with 158 strikeouts. Not bad. And then you have Juan Soto leading the MVP voting, followed by Christian Yelich. Okay. About what you would expect. And then All-Star voting, you had Garrett Cole, Hyun Jin Ryu, Zach Greinke, Dallas Keuchel, and Blake Snell. Then you had Yusmeiro Petit, Taylor Rogers, Brad Hand, with a bunch of other, Jose Aroldis Chapman, Jose Leclerc, Nick Anderson. Then you got Yasmani Grandal, Austin Romine, and Austin Wynns, Carlos Santana and Daniel Vogelbach, Whit Merrifield and Jose Altuve, followed by Rougned Odor. Okay, he wasn't even in the voting. How did he make the All-Star team with a 174 average? Okay. Anthony Rendon, followed by Alex Bregman and Maikel Franco, Marcus Semien, and then Alexander Bogaerts. JD Martinez, Willie Calhoun, Eloy Jimenez, and Michael Brantley, Mike Trout, Jorge Soler, and Jose Martinez. In the National League, you had Walker, Madison and Clayton, Trevor and Max Scherzer, Diego Castillo, bunch of closers, JT Realmuto, Omar Narvaez, and Francisco Mejia. Brewers have 2 All-Stars, and they're still this bad. Paul Goldschmidt making the All-Star team again. That's a little surprising. Then Pete Alonso, Ozzy Albies, Luis Arez, Starlin Castro, and then Jonathan VR. I know I'm pronouncing these names wrong. I'm sorry. Not really good at pronouncing names. Never have been. Then you got Nolan Arenado, Pablo Sandoval, Javier Baez, and Gene Segura, Juan Soto, Tommy Pham, and Marcelo Zuna, Ronald Acuna Jr., and then Cody Bellinger, followed by Yelich and Harper. So the All-Star teams looked a lot more realistic this year than they did last year. And let's advance to the playoffs. Maybe the Red Sox will get through. Maybe this year they will get eliminated. Okay, we are at the playoff bracket. If you look at the team standings, things are a little different this year than they were last year. The Yankees ended up winning the AL East this year by 2.5 games over the Red Sox, despite the Red Sox winning 97 games this year. The Twins, again, made the playoffs, with the Indians coming in second. The White Sox had a really bad second half and fell to 27 games back. Both the Indians and Twins finished with over 105 wins, which is crazy. Then the Astros and then the Angels made the playoffs for the first time in a while. And then the Red Sox were 1 game back of the Angels in the wild card. Then you got the Phillies making it over, the Nationals and the Marlins finishing below 500, a little more normal. That's what we expected last time. Then the Reds beating out the Cubs. That's surprising, but the Cubs still made it as the wild card. And the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are the second wild card, and they beat the Nationals by, again, 1 game. So the wild card games were a lot closer this year than they have been. If you look at the awards, Garrett Cole won Most Valuable Player. And you got the Cy Young to Garrett Cole again. And Rookie of the Year was Dom T. Williams of the Mariners. And then the National League, it was Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies. You got Trevor Bauer winning his first Cy Young at 16-4. And the Reds, Eugenio Suarez winning the MVP over Christian Yelich. He hit 51 home runs this year and drove in 125 RBIs. Impressive, to say the least. Okay, so let's sim through this point for the Yankees and see who wins this series. Okay, and the Yankees eliminate the Houston Astros in 4 games. And in the National League, it will be Cincinnati eliminating Philly, and then LA eliminating Arizona. So it looks like LA has a chance to make it to the World Series again. Let's sim the Cleveland series. And Cleveland is eliminated by New York in 5 games, so New York is on a roll. And then LA eliminates Cincinnati in 5 games as well. So are the Dodgers going to win World Series in back-to-back simulations, or will the Yankees take this one? Hopefully, because I'm not a Yankees fan, I kind of want to see the Dodgers win this one. And the Yankees defeat the Dodgers in the 2020 World Series. So if you were a betting man, I would say bet on the Yankees or bet on the Dodgers. The Dodgers did make it to both years, but in this one went to 7 games. But this time the Yankees were able to pull it out. So it looks like the top team, according to MLB The Show, is the Dodgers, but the Yankees are pretty good as well. Let's go look at the All-Star or the playoff awards. Miguel Andujar wins World Series MVP. Surprising. Postseason MVP was still Miguel Andujar. And in the National League, it was Max Muncy as the postseason MVP. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!